Yo, what's up guys? As mentioned, today going to be looking at the Fern, then tomorrow going to be looking at the last few Frieren that I haven't reviewed yet, and then the day after that is going to be the tier list listing them all. But first today, looking at the Ferns, sneak peek at all of the skills. Fire 1 is just the fodder for the rest of the... You legit have a passive that only adds a freaking slow, like what the hell is that? Then this one. This one is kind of an interesting one. Well, first of all, they also do all have a guild lead. So if any of them gets a buff towards a speed lead for guild, could make any of them usable outside of the Fire one. Well, Fire one, yeah, no, I don't think so. Even with a 28 speed lead on guild. But if any of the others get the speed lead on guild, it might be a something. However, Water Fern is one of the weirdest units in game, in my opinion. It is one of those things that they try to add a new mechanic, and this is the mechanic where you grant irresistible, and then you leave the battle until your next turn. So pretty much you become untargetable, but also if you provide immunity for your team or anything like that, she will not be getting that. And I have been trying to think about things that kind of make sense to do this, maybe using it in some kind of shape or way where you use it with like a Layla debuff team to Moe, that kind of stuff, but I don't really see the vibes to it, because you first have to strip anyway, so, and then irresistible, and then the skill 2 is the one with the defense break. It's not the highest by chance, a 3x50 check is not crazy high. I do expect this to be a little bit higher at some point, but you do have a lot of cycling on bargain, and especially for the skill 1 as well, also more bargain over there. Then we have the wind one, which is the fake-ish Triana kind of thing with an offset. Some people did mention, is she going to be good for siege defense because she cannot be sniped by a Sonya or a Rigna or that kind of stuff? Yes, but I don't really think that that is a particular case that makes you good enough with this skill 2 and this skill 1 to actually be good. But let's give that a try if we were to place her on defense-ish kind of style and then try to Rigna that. Then we have the Fern on Light, which some people do mention is the best unit out there. And why is that? Because she takes an insane amount of attack bar gain. She grants the reflect harmful effects for all allies for 1 turn at the start of her turn, but she also decreases the damage, and in addition, for every hit that an ally takes, including herself, she gains 10 bar. So against AoE hits, very strong in RTA. More of an RTA unit, cannot test in RTA however, but we're gonna test this in the battle research for sure. Then the skill 2, she has the different skill 2, which is going to be an attack power decrease and a block from harmful effects, and also increasing your attack bar for every harmful effect granted on the enemy. So a lot of attack bar gain, and that is why a lot of people say it's like, oh, she's going to be really good. Well, the thing is, I kind of want to test her damage output, and I'm not too sure if she just doesn't drop useless debuffs, because attack break and block harmful effects, not really that crazy good. Yeah, it was good against Gandalf back in the days, but nowadays is that really that great? I don't really know, but we're definitely going to be testing that. And then skill 1, same as the others. And then we have the Dark one, which arguably has the coolest animation of all of the collab with this skill 3 over here, which is just simply going to be a glancing and then an increase of the or decrease of their attack bar. And then skill 2 is that same defense break. So let's zoom into all of them individually and let's use them where I think they could be good. In this case, we're once again fighting the typical RTA-ish kind of team. I'm not really sure if she's going to be an RTA unit though. She does have attack power for guild content. Doesn't really make too much sense. This is the team that we're fighting, just my RTA kind of style of units. And let's throw a setup against that where we kind of go for like a debuff shenanigans where the irresistible mole might be kind of strong. So that will be in this style. Since he doesn't get a speed lead, I won't take the speed leads. Let's just give a useless lead to myself as well, just to make that fair. The build for her, however, I'm not too sure. She has pretty low base HP, so I'm not really sure. And she has crit rate over here. So should you kind of make her into a damage dealer? Let's just kind of go for like a violent hybrid damage dealer kind of style. And let's just add some good old add damage artifacts to her. She does have max crit rate and near max accuracy. The stats on her don't look like that much, even though that these runes are all pretty high efficient. But let's just see how that works. And then Tomo is just a despair one, and this thing moves in front. So let's see if this actually does do anything in the first place. Because supposedly with the crit awakening, she's more of a damage dealer anyways. But let's just see. Okay, so we do miss over there on the middle. Then we can still go for this. However, it looks good. She looks really cool for animation. So she cannot be hit right now. So she doesn't get the defense break and all of that shenanigans. Is that necessarily good or just niche? I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, she doesn't get all of those hits on herself right now, which is definitely a something. The irresistible makes it where I can land a lot of my shits myself, and I can, or I am able to spread it. That's not too much damage, Vio. Okay, there's still not that much damage. Maybe she needs more crit damage for that reason. I'm not 100% sure. She does get a fair bit of attack bar gain when all of the skills are on cooldown, though. So she definitely does have that part going for her. But outside of that, I'm not too sure because sure, this skill is cool and all, and she leaves and she protects herself, so maybe that's why she has lower base stats that she can kind of like tend to survive, and then maybe you have to put more supportive units next to it that can survive for a longer time. But that skill too, it's okay-ish for damage. Also in this case, I cannot really use the S3 anymore because that part is, well, just pretty much gone. So let's see how far we can get with this still if we're able to. No, that's not really the damage that I was looking for, to be honest. Also that she's taking the procs, and with the proc she's kind of getting somewhere, but the bruiser build is noticeable. Maybe I should lower her accuracy and then just go for more damage on her with, like, let's just put her on the damage set. Let's see how that works out. Maybe accuracy is a little bit overdone, and maybe I just have to go for a crit damage slot 4. And then also an attack on the 6. So yeah, what if we do something like this? It's maybe not really a great build. It's also not fast enough where I can spread the thing, but this is the point where you need so much stats that it's just kind of hard to come by. I could change this to more other stuff as well, but since we have decent-ish multi-hits, maybe this is still good. I just kind of wanted to give it a try, see if this does anything more than we were doing just before. Still, I would recommend her to move right after your strip so she can be the setup for your debuffers for the irresistible stuff coming in later. But in this case, can't really do that with the amount of speeds that I'm working with. But let's just see. So still going for that S3. 6k without a defense break is not that crazy. We proc, which also kind of gets you back into this right away, which makes her maybe a little bit weird for violent build in the first place. Still not that much damage though. Like, I'm not really feeling the damage vibes on it just yet. Let's see how much it is on the skill 1. 11k on the skill 1 with a crit damage build and an attack 6. Still being more bruiser-ish than full glass cannon, but not really something that I'm like, yo, now we're looking at some real damage kind of thing, in my opinion. Okay, Girl Sprayer coming in. Let's just do the irresistible one more time. Yeah, that's where you also know it's like, now we're low accuracy, so yeah, cool that you did that skill and all, but you didn't do shit. Despair stunts? No despair stunts. So the left one is taken out, or right one is taken out, and then we're gonna bruise her like this, but yeah, Death Break on the final hit right there. Did proc. 12k on the skill 1. I'm not really feeling the vibes. If she's any good, useful, or anything at all. Like, sure, if she procs a bit, this kind of shenanigans. How does that... No, that doesn't work at all that way. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. So I'd give my verdict on her probably A- or B+. Like, she doesn't have like a terrible kit, but it also doesn't really add too much. So I will be more looking towards a B+ than an A- in my opinion. Moving on to the next one, which is the Fern with the same skill 2, but the skill 3 is different. That is going to be a passive for an offset, but she's going to be having the same damage output. So let me test her in a thing where I think she could be good on defense, and then try to nuke that, and then see if it even does anything. So the idea that I had is you make her as a Entei kind of style against snipes, and you put her on the defense next to a Sylvia, because she does have the skill 1, which will give her extra attack bar if the S2 is on cooldown. And then we also give her a Iris next. Just kind of an idea of it. And then we're going to try to nuke it with like a typical team, which is like supposed to be the anti-thing. Of course, you're not going to send this in if you know how the passive works. But just to kind of see like, oh yeah, that doesn't work. And now she can start nuking me down. So does this actually have any value where it does do anything? I'm not too sure. It's like, sure, kind of a thing that could be a something, but is it really particularly like crazy good in the first place? Because I think I might still even win this. Like, that's okay if you start proccing a few times. Yeah, it's just the skill 1 damage. It doesn't really have that much value out there. Let's just kind of try the int. I want to get your skill 2 off. Yeah, it's not that much damage. Like, sure, it's a Death Break setup. With that, it actually starts rocking in a little bit of damage. It's actually not the worst. Do we have enough speed to start nuking this down already? Not that much, but we're getting kind of close. I think that you also should be getting close back to your... Okay, that's also a thing which he actually has as an up on Triana, because with the Triana, that Siri would have killed on multi-hits. This thing in this case did not kill because on the first hit, she immediately offsets it and puts the invisibility. And because of putting the invisibility is where I just don't deal any damage afterwards anymore. So that is one thing she actually does have better. Is it per se like a straight up better unit because of that? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what her main idea is. Maybe more of if the enemy has some kind of nuke in its team, like you see some Belials in the enemy defense these days. Maybe it's against something like that. But putting that unit on defense itself, you're just not going to use this team. Like, that's the main thing. Like, you're not going to use a snipe team if you know that something like this is coming on. You're just going to use a dot team, for example. So you would just simply throw this at it and you eat a few hits and then it's probably not really going to do too much. No hits over there. Did we get a stun over there? We did get a stun over there. We get one hit over there. Okay. Not the worst. We can start with this. We can spread that. And we can do a little bit of spread over there. And yeah, that's just kind of the way that at some point, if you counter one way, then you just start working a different way is kind of the vibe on this. And then you just proc a million times for whatever reason. Yep, definitely proccing that million times right there. And you just die and the dots still manage to do it. So not really a defense unit right there. In offense, you don't really have very particular nukes, which you kind of want to deny, so I'm not too sure about her neither. So therefore, the Wind Fern, I would give her my best a B tier as well. Because she's kind of solving a problem that's not really a problem in a lot of cases. Maybe I'll give her an A tier if she actually has some RTA value that if people start dropping Insomnias in RTA that this unit might actually do a thing or two, but even then, I give her my best an A-, I would say. Simply because I feel like that the skill 1 and skill 2 are not that impactful. If she gets a slide buff on either one of those, she could be darn good though. Moving on to the light one, which provides a lot of debuffs, and we're first going to showcase that in a scenario where she's drafted in the right bomb. I think she's more of an RTA unit. But also, let's draft her against her biggest nemesis out there that are definitely going to be drafted into her. Vermos, Juno, and Nobara. She is having a big issue against those three, 100% sure. Because the debuffs she provides aren't really crazy good though. But let's showcase her first in the scenario where she would actually be good. So we're going to be fighting against this team, which has a lot of debuffs, has a lot of AoE hits, so definitely she will be targeted, plus she will be the only target by this thing, which is a little bit unfair. But just for the idea of it, how many turns she can take, we have a typical Chow and Gandalf set right there. And then this one is going to be on a Despair Seal, just to get more value out of her turns, where she can Despair Stun, where she can land seals, and just simply have more debuffs in the first place. So let's see how that does work out. So, okay, we first take our normal turn right there, which is a little bit of a useless turn. And this where we already see is like, okay, we're going to get a lot of attack bar gain. She does get a lot of attack bar gain. That is definitely true right there. Can we remove the provoke? Nope, we did not remove the provoke. That is a little bit unfortunate. Would have been nice. Does get a turn. Does also get the reflex in right now, which is kind of nice. That part is kind of nice. Issue is that we already have the... Yep, okay. She's just kind of gonna die right there. Okay, let's try that again. She's a little bit too fast and there's no AoE strip, so there's no real value on doing this right away. But just for the attack break and potential stun, let's just go for it. Does get stolen by the Megumi for the reflect, so that doesn't help that much. But let's just see if we start taking turns from here on out. The Megumi might be a little bit annoying, but if Chow goes ham, then Chow can do a thing or two as well to have some value on that. Fucking Chow always. Okay, if we were to reflect, yep, the reflect's coming in hot. And let's just see. It's more Chow showcase than anything at this moment. That is definitely true. Is she really that good? I don't know. I don't know. It's something that she can still be stunned, though. Like, that's definitely one of those things. Should you put her towards 100 resistance? I'm not too sure. Like, sure, the reflect like that is really nice. It's severely gone, but that part is really nice. Okay, just want to get, like, kind of a good S2 off. So, if we do S2 right now, yeah, you do have, like, block harmful. You do have a lot of debuffs, but what I kind of expected is true. Yes, she takes a lot of turns, but she's taking a lot of useless turns. Like, she's trying to put as many debuffs as possible, but are those debuffs really adding too much? Like, if she was landing a defense break or something, yo, then we're talking. Like, then it's really good. But now it's just a buttload of things, and, like, the only one that's actually good is the supposedly Seal and Despair that she can land. But outside of that, she's not really landing too many of very useful debuffs in the first place. So, is she good or is she overhyped? I think she's a little bit overhyped. Sure, the reflect and that kind of stuff is kind of nice. But I think she might be a little bit overhyped. And let me showcase, because this was the team that she was supposedly good against. Plus, they're played by AI, so they're dumb. But let me place it against the team that she's really bad against. Going in with similar-ish runes, and let's see how horrible this will be. So that's also one of those things. She's not gonna become a main spammable pick, because you're gonna have a lot of issues with these kind of units just absolutely murdering you. That reflect is not gonna do too much, so... But let's see how far we can get with this. But we did actually get resist over there. We're actually holding some ground, but that's mainly because of the Gandalf being good rather than anything, I guess. The Gandalf is actually making some work. Yeah, okay, I guess we're kind of getting there, surprisingly. She does get a decent amount of hits, which gives her a chance to despair stun, though. So I must give her that. Maybe I'm just having the right counters on the other two units rather than what I expect over there. Okay, we do get some hits in ourselves. The reflect is actually kind of funny, though. The reflect I kind of do like, but... yeah, is this really that great? I think it's just the other two units being able to solo the rest of it, rather than her doing anything in that kind of shape or way. Is she a very good 5th pick, however, and often a must-ban if she's drafted in the right scenario? Yes, I definitely do think so, but I think she's gonna be one of those, like, you draft her once in every, like, 10 matches or something, and then about, like, half of those she will be the must-ban anyway, so you're not gonna see too much play out of her. But she is a nice unit to have. Plus, I don't think you have to invest crazy runes into her. Sure, it's nice if she's fast on Despair. But I think a little bit slower on Despair because she takes the turns anyways from just simply having the passive and those kind of things. It is fine to have her a little bit slower, I would say. So, decent unit, but more of a late pick in RTA. Good enough where we compare it to the other units where I would say S tier. Maybe a lower end of the S tier, but definitely an S tier. Is it better than a Dark Frieren or Dark Stark? Hard to say. I think she's kind of similar level with the Dark Stark, but Dark Frieren definitely does feel better in my opinion. Then the Dark Fern is definitely not a unit I see being used at all. Maybe for 4-star Siege, but even then, I don't expect to see that at all. She's just this skill 3 is decreasing attack bar and landing glancing. It really doesn't add too much. It is the best looking skill out of all of them, unfortunately, if they gave her the speed lead of 28 speed. Even then, I wouldn't really classify her as that great because she doesn't have RNG for defense that much because this single target defense break is going to be hitting on light units all the time. So for that reason, I'm not too sure even on that. Maybe as a dark tank plus speed lead next to your Adriana Nuker kind of style that it could do something. But even then, a Fiona, which is the dark series, would simply just do a lot more. So I don't really give her too much reason to test because she has a skill too. Similar to the other ones which we already tested, but even on like close to 900 base attack, this did nearly no damage, and now it's still nearly gonna do no damage with lower base attack. So I don't really see this being used, so I would say that she's probably more of like a C tier, or yeah, no, just a C tier is what I would give her. So that's all of the ferns. Tomorrow we're gonna do the RGBs of Frieren, and then the day after we're gonna be going over a whole completed tier list. If you're looking out for those videos, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Hope you enjoyed this one. Like this video. See you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.